Yeah.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, we lost power since 1.5 hours here. I don't know how many minutes or hours will work my laptop. So let us continue. Everybody's arrived. Yes, 12 members. Okay. Guys, if any problem during the connection or audio, just let me know. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So first, let us discuss about typecasting right now. Cast demo. Yeah. What is typecasting? Generally, I told in the very beginning session that there are few data types available in Java. Like we have short, okay, we have int, before that we have byte, right?
Yeah.
So these are all data types we have. Byte data type, short data type, okay, int data type, then long data type also we have, then we have float, and finally we have double. This is the sequence of data types we have based on the bytes, I mean their sizes. So which is the least one? Which is the least one? Byte. It is 1 byte, 1 byte. Okay, it takes 1 byte space and it can store only the minimum value like 127 up to. If you try to give 130 also, it won't accept. Yes, ma. Anybody have any doubt?
No.
Right. So this is the byte, and 32,768 short means thousands you can store. Okay, like that step by step. This is 4 byte, this is 8 byte. Okay, and these are the values with real numbers. Okay, you can store the data type based on data type, the number of values. But the problem is, when you declare, for example, I declared byte b equals 100. Okay, and I have, for example, integer I equal b. Please mute yourself. If you have any doubt only, you just let me know. Okay, guys, everyone. Yeah. Now if I declared byte b variable and I store 100, it will be okay. But the value of b, if I try to store into integer, it will be okay, no problem. It will take care. Now if I print b value and if I print I value, both will be successfully printed. Look at it, 100, 100. Why? Because this is the similar data type. Number one, byte and integer similar data type. Short also same data type. Float and double belongs to same category. Rest of all belongs to same category. Okay, types are same, but when you look at it, byte is smaller than integer, so there is no problem. Implicit typecasting will happen. So one type to other type can be stored. But in other way, if you want to store in reverse, for example, if you want to store in reverse, means what? Now there is a value inside bi, which is an integer. Let me take I2, B2, because already we declared I na. So I2 equals to 100. So b byte also can store 100. But if you store like I2 equals B2 equals I2, it will give you error. You see compilation error you are giving. Why? Type mismatch cannot convert from int to byte, because it is heavy range value. The type is heavy range. Of course, value is a small value, but the variable which is very big. Okay, guys, we got power. Just a moment. Let me convert. You may get some flickering. Okay. So So the problem is it can't do the typecasting here because of this type mismatch. Okay, in the first case it was okay. In the second case, is that possible that we can convert and we can store? Yes. So here forcefully we need to do the typecasting. How? So before the variable, the source variable and target variable, do remember. Before the source variable, you put the target variable type. What is the target variable type? Byte. So what you are trying to do here, I2, which is an integer type, you are converting into byte and you are storing into the byte value. Now you can see the error is gone. So this we can call it as explicit typecasting. Explicit typecasting, and this is implicit typecasting. Okay, implicit typecasting. So implicit typecasting automatically done based on the ranges, but whereas explicit typecasting we have to take care, like forcefully we have to do the typecasting, guys. Do remember this point. Now still you are able to, okay, let me do one thing for your more clarity. I'll just store different value 101. In the second case, I store different value. Let me run and check. See all, sorry, B2, I2. Right. See 101, 101. So in either ways, overall picture is what in Java, any type you want to use into any different type, you can still do it. It is possible. That is what typecasting. Am I clear to all? Is that clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in object typecasting, we'll see when we start object-oriented programming language. What we discussed in the last session? I gave some assignment to you guys. Anybody did? Find the biggest, next
Yeah,
multiple. Yeah, which program you did?
I did.
Which program you did?
I did highest marks.
Highest marks. Okay, marks
Yeah.
program. Let me give you the presenter. Just you can share. Mihir, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Make presenter. Yeah. Is there anybody joined today itself?
You can see my screen, sir?
Yes, I can see. Is there anybody, guys, today who joined?
Yeah,
today.
Yes, I joined it.
Who is that?
This is Vasant.
Vasant. Okay, Vasant. And who?
This is Akshay, sir.
Akshay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 members only?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay, Mihir, continue.
Yes, sir. I make this variable and mark total marks, like whatever the score they got.
Okay.
And this is our method and parsing value and comparing and find the result.
M is greater than J and M is greater than 5. Why you said more greater than? What is this? Greater
Here?
than mean? It should be less than, no? Because you are providing range or what?
No, I am finding the highest number. So M is highest than J, and again comparing two marks, right, with the Jigar and Swami.
Oh,
So
you are
here,
comparing the marks of people.
yeah,
Okay.
marks. So I'm comparing Mihir marks is greater than Jigar and Mihir marks greater than
Okay,
Swami.
like biggest of three only, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, right. Rather than saying big, you gave the different names. Okay, right. But you
sorry.
can do in the same way what I shown you, right?
So I think oh, this is the way we are last time we discussed, or the other way?
Other way also we did.
Okay, I
Big
will try.
equals to first value, and you compare the first with the second value. You got the video,
Oh,
last
yeah, yeah,
video?
yeah, 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 yeah. No, I didn't get well
Yeah,
a
that's
video, but I understand you give the easy one,
yes.
not the complex one. You get the
Right.
you give the
Yes.
easy one. Okay, I will try that.
Yeah, very nice. Anybody else has done? Anybody else is done? Guys, a single program I expected from you. Anybody has done? Hello? Coach, what happened? You have not done? Coach, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah.
Coach? Praneeth? Santosh, guys, can you hear me or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm asking something, guys. What was the assignment? I gave you an assignment, right?
I did not attend the class yesterday, so I said informed you yesterday that I will not be attending yesterday's class. So I did not complete the assignment.
Yes, boss. Okay, you take the leaves, don't worry about it. But when I'm sending the videos, at least you try and come now. Assignments is mandatory. Then what is the use of lectures? Until you practice, you won't get it. Do remember next time, please do the something at least. You don't get the output, no problem. But at least try and come to the session, okay? Right, guys. So what we'll discuss today is after this casting and all. Yeah, I'll discuss something like taking input dynamically. For example, even odd. Let me take even odd. Any number, any program. See, every time what I'm doing is I'm hard coding the values. Hard coding values means suppose if I run the program, this program only work for the input of 7. If you want to change and test for other input, you need to come back to the code and you have to give the other number. Correct? So every time you need to change the code of your program to get the input. Okay. So this is not possible. I want that input to be taken at the time of running the program rather than coding. So don't hard code the code. How can we take? If you remember the C language, like we have printf and scanf, where we take the dynamic values, guys. Okay. So how to take care of it? How is it possible to take the dynamic values? So Java will provide a class. Java provides a class called scanner class. I already told everything, every method which we use for our any action purpose is available under a class only. So there is a class called scanner class which provides certain methods. So our target is methods, guys, in Java. Our target is methods. Okay, which method? For example, there is a method called next method. The purpose of next method is what? Which reads a string from the user. There is one more method, next int method. We have double, next double. Similarly, we have next byte, next short, next float. Okay, every method we have. Right. So these all methods are available in the class called scanner class. And as I told before, every class is under a package. Every class is under a package. So scanner class is under which package? Java.util package. Scanner class is under which package? Java.util package. And system class in which package? String class in which package? So string class and system class are under java.lang package. System and string classes are java.lang package. But are we worrying about the package here when you are using string or system, guys? Did I import anything regarding this system or string? No, because it's a default package. Which is default package? Java.lang package. If you are using any of the classes of this java.lang package, do remember, without worrying about importing packages, you can continue your work. For string, system, math, we already used math class also in the previous sessions. Math class also is the part of java.lang package. Now which package we are discussing? Java.util package. Under java.util package, which class are we discussing? Scanner class methods. Why we need scanner class methods? The purpose of the scanner class method, okay, to read data dynamically. While input is, or while project, or while program is running, you can take the input using this. So how is it possible? I'll tell you. Before that, everybody should understand one basic point, that method of a class or member of a class, okay, whatever the method under a class can be accessed in two different ways. Two different ways can be accessed. What are the two different ways to access the method of a class? Okay, number one, we can access the method using class name. We can access the method using class name if the method is static method. Second way, we can access the method using object name if the method is non-static. Very simple thing. So there are two ways to access the members of or methods of a class. If anything of a class you are using, either method or variable, do remember, if you already remember that we used math.py, and also I used math.power. Guys, remember this? We used before math.py, math.power. So what is math? Is it a class or object, guys? Is math is a class or object? Tell me.
It's a class.
How can you say it is a class? How can you
It's
say
not a
math is a
class, I
class?
guess.
Yeah, it's not a class.
Is it interface?
I told in the last session about the naming.
Yes, sir. If it's a class,
If you
like it
see
starts
first
with a
letter as a
small
capital letter.
letter.
Yes.
Its first letter is
Capital
like
letter.
uppercase.
First
Yeah.
letter.
If it's a class,
Yes,
it
uppercase.
starts
So
with
then
small
obviously it
letter.
is string class. Yes. Yes. No. Class will start with the capital letter. Method will start with the small letter.
Oh, okay.
Variable will start the
That's
small
it.
letter. The scanner is a class. String is the class. System is the class. They are all capital letters, no? Correct? Yes or no? Similarly, math is a class. So now tell me, this py variable of math class, power method of math class are we accessing through object or class? Tell me. Are we using class name or are we using object name? How are we using them?
Class name.
With the class name, right? Yes, with the class name. I'm using with the class name variable declaration. Math.py local variable declaration. Power 2, 2. Okay. Look at it. Now I will tell you. Okay. I access this method using class name. So obviously, according to our discussion, okay, one of which is suitable for this? Is it accessing the method using class name or accessing user object name? How are we accessing? Class name. So that means the method is what? Static or non-static method? When you are accessing the method power with a class like math, so that means it obviously should be static, right?
Yes.
If the method static only, we are accessing through the class name. If it is yes, so I will show you. Just let me place the cursor over there, and you see this is the definition of the class. You can see here. Yeah, public static. Do you see static keyword in the method? Do you see static keyword in the method?
Sir.
Power method. Yes. So that means power method is static method. That's what we used with the class name directly. Do remember this point. See, main method is static method or non-static method. What is static and non-static? I will explain later. Don't worry about it. Is main method is static method or non-static method? Static method. Main method is a static method. So that's what JVM will access with the class name dot main method. Do remember this point also. Now let us come back. What type of methods they are? Are they static or non-static, guys? This next method, next int method, next double method, are they static or non-static?
Non-static.
Non-static, because do you see static keyword I wrote here? No, I did not write because it's not there. So when there is no static keywords in the method declaration, there is a non-static method. So how should I go with non-static? Give me a moment. Yeah. So how can I access these methods with the class name or with the object name? If the methods are non-static, then I should access with what? Object name. Correct? Understood now? Everybody understood or not?
Yes, yes.
So here I need object. I have already class, but I don't need class name. I need object of the class. See what is object and all we'll discuss, but I'll show you the standard syntax of creating object for a class. Scanner sc object name equals new scanner system.in. This is the way how we create object. Creating object for scanner class. This is the basic syntax of creating object for the scanner class. Class name, object name, this could be anything as you wish. You can write obj, or you can write scanner small letters, or you can write shortcut sc, no problem. Object name as you wish, equals new keyword, then class name within the braces system.in. I'll tell you what is system.in. So now which is object in the above line? Mute yourself everyone. Which is the object? in the above line?
Is
Which
it
is the
new
object in the above
scanner?
line?
SC?
No. Yes, SC is the name of the object. Very good. I can say SC dot next method. I can access SC dot next int method. Next SC dot next double method, like that you can access now. So this is the way how to access the scanner class methods, guys. I hope I'm clear to all. Now let us understand what is this. System.in represents keyboard input device, whereas system.out represents console output. Okay, output. System.in represents keyboard. Do remember, if you want to print something to the console, you give system.out. If you want to read the data from the keyboard, you use system.in here. So what you are telling to the object, you are telling to the object that boss, read a string from the keyboard. The source is what? From the keyboard. When you make a request to read the string or read the integer, the source for the scanner class object is what? System.in. If I say print result, what is the target? System.out. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So while creating scanner class object, do remember that we always specify the source. From where are you getting the data? From the file? Are you getting the data from the keyboard? So no, I am not reading the data from the file. I am going to read the data from the keyboard. So you specify the source from which the scanner class object will read the data with the help of next method and next int method from the keyboard only. Okay. Now let me introduce here. Yeah, rather than just saying n equal to 10, what do you mean by n equal to 10? So the 10 value is being stored into n. Okay, so before that, I just declare a scanner class object here. S equals new scanner system.in. Guys, mute yourself. Some noise is coming. Everyone. Good. Okay. Scanner S equal to new scanner system.in, n equals to 10. Okay, rather than that, hard coding 10 value, constant value, I just introduced 10 means what? What type of data it is? Is it integer or string or float? What? 10 comes under which type?
Integer.
Integer.
So which method is suitable for this? Which method
Next
is
int.
suitable for this integer?
Next int.
Next int.
So other than 10, we put sc dot next int. You see, all the methods are available here. Next int, next float, next double. See, rather than giving a value, I specified some command method sc dot next int. So it asks to enter the value by prompting enter an integer value. Enter an integer value. Then by watching this, the user will enter the value, which is an integer, and that will be stored into n. Now see the output. Yeah, enter the integer value and it is waiting for the input. I give 12. You got the answer. Got it? So now it's again asking some other number 8. So I'm not changing the values in my program. I'm changing dynamically at the time of execution. This is the main use of scanner class. Is that clear to everyone or any doubts to anyone?
No, sir, no doubts.
Guys,
Yes.
is that clear? Everyone? Okay. So now from now onwards, whenever you need to read the values, dynamically we take the values using scanner class. Okay. Sure. Now after completing if condition, we'll move to the loops. We'll move to the loops. So what is the first loop we have? While loop. Loop demo 1. Main method finished. Yeah. What is the purpose of loop? Very simple. Suppose if I want to print system.out.println some message, hi, I just print. But if I want the same message 10 times, what's supposed to be done? I have to copy and paste the value 10 times. If I want 100 times, do you copy paste 100 times? It's printing 10 times, no problem. But what if you want 100 or 1000 times? Would you like to copy paste this? And it is the standard. Is it a standard practice to copy paste that number of lines? How many? How whatever the output you want? How many number of inputs you want? Everything is same. No, it's not. It's against the standards of this. So when you want number of values with the same output, then rather than writing that or only not only printing, your task is supposed to repeat the same thing again and again. Repeat the same thing again and again. Then we should go with the loop rather than repeating the same thing again and again. Loops. For example, we have a loop called while loop. We have a loop called while loop. First, it looks like our if condition only, guys. It looks like our if condition only. But what is the if condition? There you provide a condition. There you provide a condition. If the condition is true, then the statements under the if will be executed. If the condition is false, if the condition is, for example, false, it is returning false value, then it will not be executed. It will go out of the if condition. So if you want the body of the if to be executed, you should make sure the now brackets should return always true. Okay. For example, some condition you have given in the if and it's running true times, this will only one time. Yes or no? It will run only one time. But when it comes to while loop, structure wise, if both are same looking, but the condition, if the condition is true in the while loop, it will go and execute, but it does not go out of the loop. Rather than that, it will come back and test the condition again. Like if condition, it will only run once, but loop will repeatedly checks. Okay, after executing this statement or statements under the body of loop, after finishing the loop, it will come and test again. So when it is again true, for example, then it will execute this once again. Once it is finished and reached to the end of the brace, then again come back. Suppose after repeating few times, if it is false, then it will stop the loop and go out of the condition. The control will go out of the condition. This is the difference between loop and if condition, guys. Now let me do one thing. I want to print hello 10 times. So I just declare one variable integer I equals to 1. Initially I contains how much? 1. Now I'm just saying I less than or equals to 10. I less than or equals to 10. Tell me this condition is true or false, guys? Right now, is that true or false?
True.
True. Why? Because I value equals to 1. So 1 is less than or equals to 10. So it is true. Okay, it will print. Okay, it will go back to the condition test. Again, it will be true. It will come and print. How many times it will print like this? Tell me.
10 times. 9 times.
10 times. Are you sure? 9 times, 10 times. Let me check. See, it is continuing. It is not stopping, guys. It is continuing infinity time. See, I'll show you how many times it is got. See, all it is printed.
Because
Keep on printed
value is
100,
not
10,000.
changing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very good. Because the loop is not stuck, not stopped. Always I value is how much right now? 1.
1.
Because I value is not changing in this body, right? Are we changing
Yeah.
I value to 2, 3, 4, 5? No, we are not doing. So it's always 1 only, always true. If you want to stop, you need to do I value to 11. So just say I plus plus. This is increment operator. By 1. It always increment the value of I to 1. Okay. Initially you have 1. When you say I plus plus, I value will become 2. Okay. Now say I value, it will be printed when I value equals to 1 and it will be incremented to 2. So 2 is less than or equals to 10. Again it will print. Then it will become 3. 3 is less than. Again it will be incremented. 4, 5, 10 less than or equals to true or false? 10 less than or equals to 10, true or false?
True it is.
It could be
True.
less than or it could be equal. I gave both true.
True.
So when it become 11, then it will stop. Stop. 11 is less than or equal to 10. Wrong, kada?
Yeah.
Right? Now it will only run for 10 times, not more than that. See, only 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's it. Check it here. This is the loop. So this condition is important. How we generate the condition based on our requirement is important. That is the main logic here. Okay, guys? You
Yes, sir.
understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Now, okay, we'll do other program. If you want to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what to do? Just very simple. Remove high, print I value. Will that print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or not?
Yes.
Yes. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 10 it is printing. Up to 10 it is printing. So let us write this in the method concept. Public. Have you done with the methods, right? Yes. Public static void get numbers. My method name is get numbers, guys. Okay. I'll write this whole logic here because everything is a logic only, including I equal to 1 also. Okay, because it's fixed 1 to 10 fixed, so no user is giving for range. Yeah. Now we call and it will run. It will calculate. It will print. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is printing. Is it printing? Yes, it is printing. But according to us, what I said, rather than printing in the main method, in the other method, so you should print this in a main method. Can anybody tell me how can we print the values 1 to 10 in main method? Just think and let me know. Anybody? In the main method, we said to print everything, kada. So it is not printing in the main method. It is printing in the get numbers method. How can I print the generated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the loop inside the main method? Tell me. Anybody? Guys, anyone? Okay, tell me, is it one number is returning or multiple?
Multiple.
Sorry? Yeah, there is not only one number to be returned and one value to be returned. There are many values to be returned. In that case, don't do anything. Just simply go to string. Do remember, when you need multiple values to be returned from the method, because there is no chance of returning multiple values, kada. At a time, one only you can return, right? At a time one value can be returned. So you declare one string variable, any name, string variable, and whatever the output you want to add, you add to the string. Result plus equals to, or result equal to result plus
I.
I. Now what happens? Every I value 1, 2, 3, 4 will be added to string result, and after loop is completed, the whole numbers which are under the string you can return back. This is the way how to return multiple values. And when there is a returning of string is there, void is replaced with what?
String.
String. Void is replaced with a string. Yeah. Then what next? You should receive, no?
Receive string.
String result. Yeah. Then print result. See output. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got all the values, correct? But there is no space. How to generate space? While appending, also generate some space. Append some space after each number. First one number is added along with the space. The next number is added, then along with the space. Every time space is added. Check here. 1 space, 2 space, 3 space, 4 space, 10. If you want them line by line, what you will do? Not in one line space. I want 1, then 2 should be the next line, 3 should be in the next line. What should I do, guys?
The method, the next line, string next line. Does that work?
No. Here I am giving space, so it is going to the next line, next space. If you want next line, there is a escape sequence called /n. /n means next line. It generates a new line automatically. You see, I1 will be added, then next line. 2 will be added, then next line. 3 will be added, next line. So like that, if you want a space, you put space. If you want line by line, give line by line. Okay, now what do you understand in this program? Tell me. When you need multiple values to be returned, at least 2 values to be returned, you can't return. So there is only one way to return. Add those values as a result to the string, then you can return 1 after finishing your output. This is the output. Is that okay, guys, for everyone?
Yeah.
If you have any questions,
Yes, sir.
yeah, just blindly do remember this point. But when you want multiple values to be returned, just take a string and return it. That's it. Let me take another program. I paste the program. I'm not creating new programs. I just copy the whole program and paste with a different name, so I can save some of the code here and time also. You can go and discuss more. Right, what is in this program I wanted to print is, yeah, rather than printing 1 to 10, I want to print the sum of those numbers. Sum of those numbers means what? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10. Total number will come 55. I want to do that. Can anybody help me out here how to achieve that?
We can actually run that code inside while, like I equal to I plus 1.
I equal to I plus 1 means it will damage this condition, Kadama.
First we
Okay.
create
It will
the
damage
integer
this
sum.
also.
First we create int.
Very good. Yes, sum is equals to 0. You
0.
take a counter 0 sum.
Then sum
Then
plus I.
add this I value.
Yeah.
Yes, I value to sum integer, right? Sum equals to sum plus I. Before it was concatenating. Now it will add it to calculate. Now after loop is over, return sum. Then we should replace this string to
int.
Because sum is what type?
Int.
Integer.
Type. Yeah, you receive with the
Int.
integer. Okay. The sum is plus sum. The sum is plus sum. What is wrong with this? Okay, I should have received kada. Now run it the code. Run as Java application. See guys, the sum is 55. Got it? Look at the code. Is it clear to all?
Yeah.
Everybody got clarity?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now you tell me, I don't want to print sum of all the numbers. I want 1 to 10 numbers are there now. From those numbers, all even numbers sum separate, odd numbers sum separate. I want to print the even number sum is sum 25 and the odd number sum is 35 like that. 30 or 35 like that. Tell me how to do that. Now I calculate all the numbers, right? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. But now I want you to give me the output like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Separate.
Even sum equals to 0,
Tell
odd
me.
sum equals to 0.
Even sum equals to, you mean I will declare variables like this?
Two variables we have.
Even sum.
So your odd sum equals to
Equal
0.
to 1.
Fantastic. Tell me.
0 is
Where? I'll remove this. What's next? Yeah,
now
I
put
want
the
this
if,
sum separate. This.
now put the if condition in the while loop.
Fantastic. If you check whether I value is even number or odd number, correct?
Or yeah, and
If
then
I value is even, yes, you add it to.
add it to in even number.
How?
If I modulo 2 is equal to 0,
Yes.
then even sum even sum is equal to
In
even sum
shortcut we
plus.
can write like this also.
Okay.
In shortcut we can write like this also. This is shortcut add-on operator.
Okay.
I mean, rather than repeating even sum 2 times like we did before, sum equals to sum plus I. This is same as writing like this. Okay. If you just say equal, the value goes and assigned to the even sum. If already there some value exists, it will be overridden.
Yeah.
It will gone. But if you say plus equals, it won't destroy the existing value. It will append it to that. I mean, it will calculate with that. Yes, do remember this. Else odd
plus I.
Sum equals to I. Anything else? Now you got two values. How you return them? There is not only one value like before. No, we have two sum values. How will you return them?
Return I.
Return I. We supposed to return these two, no?
Return even sum and return odd
These
sum.
two values. How? Only one return can be done in a method. You can't use two return statements.
We use string and return even sum and append with the odd sum. Then
fantastic. String result again. I told you, blindly go with the string if you have multiple values. The even sum is why the even sum is plus concatenate even
One sum
variable plus odd
or
sum
sum is
is
odd sum.
concatenate odd sum, all in one line, all append in one line. So this string is completely added to a string variable result. Then finally you return the result variable and you return string.
String.
Why I am appending to string? Because only for printing now, I am not calculating this in the further. So that's what I am taking it as a string variable result. Result. Run it. See, the even sum is 30, odd sum is 25. You got it, huh?
Yeah.
See, the even sum, the sum is why this? Okay, okay. I don't want this, no. I should remove this. Yes. Yeah. Only result which already decorated there. Yeah. Even sum is 30. Odd sum is 25. Got it now, everyone?
Yeah.
When you have multiple values, how to deal with the multiple values to be returned? Append it to the string and return that particular string back. That's it. I hope everybody got clarity of it.
Yes, sir.
Has everybody understood or not? Okay.
Yeah.
Now let us take one more program. Let me take that previous program. Sum of 2 digits is there now. Let me write this sum of digits, not 2, 3, 4. Sum of digits. I'll hold copy, close this without saving, and paste it in this program. Yeah. Now this is a new program. Sum of digits. It's not sum of 2 digits. Sum of digits. Get sum of digits. I mean, it could be 2-digit number. I will add scanner class here. Scanner sc equals new scanner system dot in. Okay. See guys, I need to import because why it is getting error, I told you, no. Scanner class is under which package? Util
Java.util.
package. So yes, you have to import this. Import. Yeah. So once you import only it will work, otherwise it won't work. Save it. Now just write a message system dot out dot println. Enter a number. Enter a number, and rather than hard coded value, what should I give here? What should I give? Sc dot next int. Next int. That's it. Now send this number to the get sum of digit and ask to calculate the sum of digit. Do you know how many numbers are there? How many digits are there? I don't know. If user gives 3-digit number, it will calculate. It's supposed to calculate for 3-digit number. If user gives 5-digit number, it has to calculate 5-digit number. In that case, leave about this if conditions and all. Yeah, let me remove all. I'll make it very clear. Yeah. Anybody will help me how to sort out this problem? My target is what? Not only for 2-digit, it should work for n-digit. And that is possible with the loop, while loop. How? How do you think it is possible? Assume n value equals to 2134. How many digits are there? 4 kada?
4.
Yeah. How will you calculate the sum of digits? If you have n value as 130456, how will you calculate this? This is 6 digits. How will you do that? You don't know exactly how many digits are there. What is the logic? What do you think? Guys, anyone?
First we find the length, n dot length.
No need of length because we can't find the length here because it's integer, no?
Oh, sorry.
We can't find the length. Then
This one so on a number of lines.
yeah. Assume some number is there. You don't know what is this. Let's take example like this. You take one variable sum, guys. Up first take this remainder. What you will get in the remainder? If you divide it by 10 and get the remainder, what will be the answer in this? In this, assume this is a number. What is the answer?
213.
4, no?
4.
4, no?
Yeah.
Remainder.
Yeah, yes.
If you divide it by 10, remainder is 4. So add this remainder. Add this remainder. So what is the value of sum right now? 4. Correct?
Yeah.
When 2134 you got to 4. Now next, excluding 4, you want to take 3. What's supposed to be done next time? Very simple. You should think in that a way. Except this, if you want to get 213, what you will do? N value you divided by 10 and store, replace the value of n. Now what will be the value of n after this line? 213.
213.
4 will be eliminated. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So in this case, you will find the remainder like 3. Now add 3. After this, if you want again n by 10, you will get 1. Then you will get 1 as a remainder. After that, you will again divide 2. After 2, nothing. Stop. I means how to continue this process? Put a loop, while loop, by saying n is greater than 0, you continue this process. If n is not greater than 0 or it reaches to 0, stop it. That's it. Confused? First take away 4, add to sum, then take away 3, add to sum, then take away 1, add to sum, take this 2, add to sum. There is nothing now. That means it will be containing what? 0 kada. N value contains 0, right? Then you should stop. That's what I am saying. If n value is greater than 0, there is something. At least if you have 1 also, you should continue because 1 also calculated now. Got it? So if it is 1, you continue. If it is less than 1, stop. So what we supposed to do? First step, you take the remainder, add to sum, then divide and store again into n. When it is repeating next time, n value will be different, right? First n value equal to, if the first value n value equal to 2134, next time when it is repeating back, what will be the n value, guys? 213 only, na? Because you are dividing, right? 213. So in the 213 you are getting remainder. How you are getting remainder? N percentage 10. Now look at it. N percentage 10. Sum equals 0, comma remainder. Remove this. This is the code, guys. This is the code. Try to understand here, everyone. This is important logic. If you are clear with this percentage and divide logic, I already told in the beginning. If you are clear with this logic, you can do many programs with this particular logic. Try to understand. This is most important logic. Yeah. Who understood this? Who understood this, guys?
I understand.
Okay. Is there anybody who is still confused and want to listen once again?
Yeah, I understood.
Understood? Huh? Chalo. Okay, ma. This is important logic. Do remember, this will be repeated many times. Divided by 10, percentage 10. Both are important. Percentage 10 will give you remainder of the number, the last digit of the number, and by 10 will get the rest of the numbers. So this process will continue until n value is greater than 0. If n value reaches to 0, it will stop. And finally, you need to return sum. You need to return sum. Int return type int sum. The sum of digits is plus sum. Yeah. Now run it and check. I give a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check, is it correct or not? 1 plus 2, 3 plus 3, 6 plus 4, 10
Yes, sir,
plus 5,
correct.
15. Yeah. 9, 8, 7, 24. 16 plus 8, 24. Correct? Like that. Either you give 3-digit number, it will work. You give 5-digit number, it will work. You give only 2-digit number, still it will work. So this is the loop where exactly we need loop, and especially while loop is required in this situation where you don't know exact number of iterations. That is the while loop. Okay, now? Right. So if this okay, I give you one assignment. Yeah. Yeah. Using for loop. Okay. Try to find the try to test the given number is prime or not. Prime or not. You know prime number, everyone, right?
Yeah.
5, 7, 11. If I give 5, it should say it's a prime. If I give 6, it should say not a prime. So using for loop, because already while loop, you know, I want you to work on for loop and bring this. Even if you want to do the with while loop, no problem. I don't have any problem. But try to complete this program testing for prime number, whether the given number is prime or not. Okay, guys. And
Sir.
if possible, yes. Yeah. Somebody asked me question.
No, sir, no question.
Yeah. If possible, also using for loop Armstrong number test also. If I give a number, you check and tell me is it Armstrong number or not. Like 253, I think, right? 2 cube. 5 cube, I think 7, right? 257 or 253? 253. I think no, 253. 2 cube, 5 cube, 3 cube. How much? Plus 2 cube means 2, no, 8 plus 5 cube, 5 5 is 25 into 5, 125
125.
plus 3 cube, 27, right?
Yes, sir.
27. Is it 153 answer?
Yeah, 150. No.
No. 150. No, 153, I think. 153. Then check with 153. 1. 5 3 is
No.
27.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Yes, I
correct.
think it is correct. Yeah, this
It's correct. Yeah.
correct. 150. Yeah, if I give 153, you should tell that it is the Armstrong. The digits
Stuck at my net.
are there. So cube, 1 cube, five cube, 3 Hello.
Yes, sir.
Now we
Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, now
Yes,
Yeah,
we can
there
hear
was
now.
some internet issue. Yeah, guys. So yes. So any questions from anyone? Shall we wind up?
Yes, sir.
sir,
Yes.
Recordings.
Yes.
of today.
No question.
Can we get the recordings of today?
Yes, ma.
Itself?
Did you receive yesterday's recording?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have your mail IDs and all, no. So I will share it to consultancy. They will share it to you. Okay. Otherwise, do one thing. I'll share my email ID and WhatsApp number. Everybody just ping me. So directly I will send it to you.
Okay.
See, this is my WhatsApp number. 482080, and this is my email ID. Okay. Just send me hi message so that I can share the video. Okay, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. Bye. See you tomorrow. Okay.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Bye.